Okay, so this gorgeous girl is in her school uniform, which is why I've just blurred it out. But Mummy contacted me a couple of weeks ago, just really because one of her friends had a child in my I Can Read Without You pilot group, so she knew the kind of work I was doing, and she just asked for some advice because she didn't feel like her daughter was really confident and wanted to know how she can best help at home. This is the video from the initial assessment. So when I first start working with children, this is obviously online, and I'm actually not working with the child, the parents are. The whole idea of what I do is that I'm telling parents what to do. I'm not doing the work, the parents are doing the work. And then often teachers get involved, and then teachers say, how can I do this? How can I best support this at home, etc., etc. Now, luckily, when I watched this first video, I could see that whatever is happening at school, she's been using her duck cans. She's used to using duck cans, which is fantastic. And I know that she absolutely adores her teacher. So when I watched this initially, although you might not think there are any particular problems, there are for me, because it's a case of fine tuning. So some of the children that come to me, I assess them, and their phonemic awareness is absolutely, is really, really poor. So they haven't got a chance of learning to read and spell with confidence. And they also don't understand how to segment words into sounds. They don't really understand what reading and spelling is. Their letter formation is awful, etc., etc. This wasn't the case with this child. It's just a case of me being able to best help her mum at home. So what I could see here were a few things that I'm fine-tuning, if you like. For example, with chips, the sounds are ch, I, p, s. So we have to keep them nice and short, because if we say ch, we're adding a sound and it makes it more difficult for spelling. So I'll go through this, because even in 2 weeks, this little girl is far more confident. And I want you to understand how quickly the brain understands what is needed when you use the activities at home. I want parents to understand how they can best help. Now it's very difficult. We've had COVID, etc. So a lot of schools, even if they're great SSP schools and the teachers are really committed, it can be really difficult to share information with parents because of COVID and closures and all the rest of it. And what I want schools to do is sort of approach me to ask for help with getting parent workshops sorted, sending the best information home so parents can really help, basically giving the information that I'm giving to parents here.
Chips.
Chips.
So great start. She actually gave the 4 sounds, ch, ip, s. So she didn't put the ps together at the end, which the vast majority of children do when I first see them. They go something like ch, ips, at best. So she gave the right sounds, which is brilliant. The only thing there, of course, was the added nat schwa. So I want to make sure that when she gives the sounds, it's ch. It can be very, very difficult. Think about a lot of the sounds, especially in the classroom where can be quite noisy. Think about a sound like p at the beginning of pig. It's very difficult to say p and for a child to hear. So you often, even as teachers, we go p and we add a schwa, so we have to be really, really careful with these things. Now the first word actually should have been chip without the s, because I want to hear if they isolate ch, ip. And then the second word is chops, because then I know, okay, well, they isolated the ch, ip, but can they segment the ps at the end? So for this little one, it didn't really matter so much because she actually did it. But when I'm assessing children, the first word would be chip.
Chops. Chops.
So again there, she heard the sounds, she wasn't quite as confident with that one, and then she didn't blend. So I would be wanting to make sure that all day, every day, she's using a duck hand. So it's a really automatic ch-ips, chips, and they use their hand and they sweep with as many different words as they can, absolutely regardless of their code level, of their phonics or whatever else. That's why you'll see teachers using duck hands for the register, where they're, lily, and they're all doing it and hearing all the time, because it's rewiring the brains of the children that have got the poor phonemic awareness. So every single opportunity in the class, duck hands, and so that she's confident. You can see that she just moved a little bit there, which she waited, mum waited, and she knew that she'd missed something, so she said the word. word. On this particular one, the thing that I would be thinking is we really need to boost her confidence. And the best way to do that is so that she's confident with what she's doing, not false, compliments or whatever. But the confidence is the thing that stood out for me just here, which we want to change.
Cheese.
cheese, cheese.
Lovely. She wasn't blinded by the letters. A lot of the older kids know how to spell the word cheese, and they say ch-e-s. So she gave the actual sounds ch-ease, cheese. But again, because we haven't made sure with her that she's pronouncing those sounds really nice and cleanly and crisply. So again, she adds that schwa. So that's something that we're definitely going to work on, but it's something that she'll get rid of straight away. It's very easy to say ch instead of ch, especially when using the Monster Sounds app all the time and hearing me say the sounds.
Float.
Out, float.
So that was great that she segmented the f and the o at the beginning of the word. A lot of the children that come to me first of all have used programs where they've taught consonant blends, and the children are really confused about how to segment words. Instead of just segmenting the words into the smaller sound units, the phonemes, they start doing all sorts of things. And when you've got a child that struggles with phonemic awareness, it's a nightmare. I've got videos of children where I've said, take away the or out of float, and they go oat, because they think full is a sound, because that's what they were taught. So it's brilliant she wasn't doing that here. Now I would want to do the monster routine here just to see which monster she chooses for the O sound. You heard the pronunciation, f or out. So I just want to know, it doesn't matter how children articulate it, which is what I've talked to you about before. Obviously this work will actually help them articulate the sounds more clearly. There are issues when there are accents and all sorts, but Mummy said float, and the sound should have been f or out, float. So I'd want to know why it was a slightly different sound there. So I'd do the monster routine with her just to check if she is hearing those sounds, even if perhaps she's pronouncing that sound differently, which would be absolutely fine. If she knows what sound it should be and she chooses the right monster, which is why we have the monsters for non-verbal children as an alternative to the IPA and also cued articulation, whatever. Obviously that's not relevant here, but the monster would clearly show me which sound she thinks it is because of the monsters, and also the monster mapping app, the sounds app. I would get her to just play that to just reinforce to me which sounds she's hearing. But again, the underlying phonemic awareness here, there's not major issues. She's not a red alert.
Raining.
Raining.
Do you want to just have another go at that one? Raining.
Raining.
Good girl.
So imagine if you're coming to spell an unfamiliar word, what do? You think about the sounds. Raining, what are the sounds? If you can't hear the sounds, or the sounds in the wrong order, you're going to get the spelling wrong. What was so fascinating here for me was that, yes, she messed up she didn't give the right sounds. She wasn't hearing the right sounds and saying them. But then Mummy didn't tell her the sounds. So what we say to parents is, right, if they can't hear the word, if they can't hear the sounds in the word, then give the word, the sounds, the word. So like here, if I was working with this child, especially if it was a child that I'd not met before, I'd go, oh, raining, raining, because I don't want to ask her to do it again, because if she couldn't do it in the first place. So word, sounds, word. But Mummy asked her to do it again. Mummy knows her better than I do. But the second time, with no help other than the prompt to let's just have a go. And so all she's doing is letting her brain have a little bit more time to think about it. And she got it right. So this shows me that she just needs more opportunities and more guidance. But she can do it.
Sloppy.
Sloppy.
So what's the issue there? Confidence. She got it right. Floppy, up, e, but then she's not sure if that is the right one, and so she's lacking confidence in herself. In class she's probably quiet because she doesn't want to have a go, and because she doesn't have a go, or perhaps doesn't have as many opportunities as she needs, she's just not feeling confident in herself, but she got it right. So again, with this little one, she has absolutely the skills, the tools to do this, but we need to help. I need to help Mummy to make sure at home her mummy is saying, right, these are the strategies, so that she can do it on her own, because confidence is going to be key here. And we're going to see her building in confidence, and hopefully her teacher will notice the difference as well. And that's what happens when parents can help at home, when parents understand this and understand how to fine tune and understand when to give direction, when to give help, when to give support, and to do the activities. So I'm going to get her to do the monster routine so she builds confidence.
Hungry.
Hungry.
Do you want to just have another go at that one? Hungry.
Hungry.
Mummy's so lovely with her. She's asking her to give another go. This is the time when I'd say, oh, hungry. Hungry. Let's do the monster routine so we can make sure we're getting those sounds down in order, make sure we're hearing all of the sounds so we're using the monsters, and let's have a look at code mapping as well to see how the letters in the word map. And that's what Mummy will learn to do. At this point, Mummy will give the word, sounds word, and then they'll do the monster routine. And Mummy will know the instruction to give her. At the moment on this assessment, Mummy will be thinking, I know she can't hear the sounds, but what am I supposed to do? And that's what this is all about. That's what the bot group is all about, helping the parents know how to help at home. And hopefully these videos are helpful as well for teachers who I would love to reach out to me so that I can help you best help them on an individual level in the classroom. So monster routine for the word hungry. We say the word over the board. Hungry. We use our duck hands. Hungry. Speech sound lines. Hungry. Play it. Hungry. Speech sound numbers. Hungry. Speech sound monsters. G. E. And what I'll be getting Mummy to do is check, using the monster mat, if the phonetic symbols were right. So she'll check with her daughter, because obviously we want the children to do this on their own. G. E. So they're the phonetic symbols. So when we've checked, yes, we were absolutely right, Mummy will show the word, she'll write the word hungry, and then she's got to map them. Okay, so what's the picture in this word for it's the letter H. What's the picture of the sound for the sound in it's the U. And what about the it's an N. And what about the G? It's a G. And what about the It's an R. And what about the E? So in this word, because it can be different in different words, in this word, we've mapped the phonemes to graphemes, and in this word, we can see the monsters, we can see what they represent, hungry. And because they see that, and they see the representation for the sound and the sound pick, they look for patterns in other words. As I've said on lots of other videos, it actually doesn't matter if the child themselves can't pronounce those sounds, because that's why we have the monsters for children who use cued articulation or English as a second language. So they're used to using those phonetic symbols. So instead of the phonetic symbols, they've just got a monster. So it's really, really easy to learn. So they can play the sounds as well, and to double check on the sounds. So use the SSP Monster Sounds app, and here's the monster routine for the word hungry.
Very good. I'm going to let you have one more go. I'll say the word one more time. You're doing great there, Liv. Hungry.
So you can see on that third try, she got it on her own without her mum actually helping her, which is brilliant for the child, which means the child can do it. It makes me have great hope that this child is going to, become confident, understand what to do very, very quickly, But I need you to understand that confidence is key. So if the child can't do it the first time, often I'll just give the word, the sounds, the word, we'll explore it just after the first one. I might give them the second time if I know the child. But what we want is the child to think, I'm not going to have to sit and work really, really hard on something I really feel like I can't do. I'm going to be shown, I'm going to be helped, because that will help her with the confidence. But on this, I also want you to understand that boys and girls can be very different. She's obviously got a great relationship with her mum, and she had a go the third time. So despite feeling I can't do this, she did it a third time, and she did it. But a lot of children, especially boys, won't do that. Even after the first go of not being able to do it and then not getting the help that they need, a lot of boys will say, nah, forget this, or they'll start messing about, they'll do something to distract you, they'll start looking at something else, fidgeting, whatever else. I'm not saying all boys, and a lot of girls do this as well, but a lot of boys in particular will say nah, and they'll switch off and they'll avoid, and they tend to be the ones that then I find that I'm ending. That's where I came to this from. I came to this because I had teenagers who couldn't be in school for antisocial behaviour, really appalling behaviour choices, and they couldn't read and spell. And I could track it right back to the very beginning stages of school where they failed because they weren't getting the instruction and the help and the support that they needed. They were getting help and intervention and all sorts galore, but not what they actually needed. So it's far easier to avoid and not do it and play up. And that's what I want you to understand here, that this child is fine, but for a lot of children, they have already decided in their first year of school that they can't do this, they don't like this, they don't like feeling stupid, they don't want to do it, they don't want to have a go, and it just breaks my heart. So that's why I'm doing this intervention, early intervention, and showing the I Can Read Without You preschool, because I want to avoid that. I want as many parents as possible to ensure that their children go to school fully prepared to learn in spite of what happens at school. This child is lucky. She's getting help at school. I can tell because of the way she's doing her duck hands. But a lot of children are not so lucky. They might not have teachers who understand this, and they also might not have parents who can even read. Illiteracy is a far bigger problem than most people understand. And so even if parents can read, they might not know how to help at home. So that child can end up just basically set up to fail. And we need to change that. Now, I didn't ask her to, but she wanted to do it again, which is brilliant because it means that she's learnt from that. She knows she's learnt from that. It was like a trial run. And now she wants to do it again and show what she can do, which is just a brilliant attitude. And so I want you to watch her now. So this is when she's doing it. And she's had no instruction. Mummy hasn't now told her what to do. I obviously hadn't spoken to Mum to say just make sure she's not adding that schwa with the so she's going to do that again. But look what happens. She's going to do it. She's going to give the right sound. So she is becoming her teacher, all because Mummy just gave her a little bit of time to do it again, but she has worked it out, and that's what the activities are all about. That's what duck hands are all about. It's about the children being able to learn how to do it themselves, and that is what builds the confidence. So I loved seeing this second video.
Chips.
Chips.
Chops.
Chops.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Float.
Float.
Raining.
Raining.
Sloppy.
Sloppy.
Hungry.
Hungry.
Good girl.